my friend Dr. Charles Apoki. I have been having some thoughts running through my mind over this period of time, and I was hesitant to do a video on them, but I feel indebted to you, to myself, and to society to do these videos. Number one, I bought fuel today, the petrol, for 230 naira per liter. And I was wondering, somebody imported fuel, no person was punished. Somebody approved of the fuel, no person was punished. The fuel was not returned to the country where it was imported from. No company paid for that wrong commodity that they sent to us. And we are now paying heavily for a mistake that we did not make. The governor of New York, Cuomo, rightly said that when things go wrong, the poor pay the highest price. I saw people struggling to buy fuel at 230, 250, where they were selling the normal prices. There were long queues in a country that produces oil but imports fuel with several refineries. Corruption is killing us. Inefficiency is killing us. Nonchalance is killing us. Tolerance of stupidity is killing us. Ironically, we the citizenry who celebrate those people that rape us, rape our economy, are going to pay a very dear price. I'm seeing a lot of presidential candidates coming up, some who have controversies surrounding them. This will want to repeat the same mistake in 2023. 2023, none of these presidential candidates that I'm seeing, very few of them have the intellectual capacity, even physical capacity, to manage an economy that will reverse all the tragedies of the past 8 years. And so, we're going to pay more bills as citizens for the theft, the kleptomania of the leadership of this country currently. I had to clear my drains, the drains in front of my street, not directly opposite my house. I had to pay to clear them. That is the responsibility of the local government. But we are paying. They've said that whoever does not clear his own will be fined 50,000. Is that my problem? It's a state government. It's a federal road that's supposed to have a maintenance team that was supposed to clear the drains. Even if such activities have been budgeted for, somebody will pocket the money. And so I'm going to pay to clear my drains. We don't have public water supply. So I sank a borehole and I pump my water with diesel, and I'm paying a price to get water. It would have been easier if we had public water supply. Somebody was given a contract to lay pipes for water. That person ate that money. So we are paying a high price for the wickedness of a few people. If you drive through our roads are terrible. We are paying a high price for people who are given contracts to do roads and they do shoddy jobs. There's a street in Nigeria at Warri, Upper and Lower Erejuwa streets. They were constructed by Samuel Ogbemudia when I was in primary school. Those roads are still there till today, concrete and solid roads. But today, somebody would gain a contract to construct roads, he will just pour tar on top of it, and within 3 months, the road is destroyed. They are the same people we invite for Thanksgiving in our churches. They are the same people who give chieftaincy titles in our communities. They are the same people we celebrate. The people who rape us. It's called Stockholm Syndrome when you celebrate those who rape you. You celebrate those who kidnap you. You celebrate those who torture you. What is going to happen is that because of the fact that a lot of our resources have been stolen and used to buy houses overseas, buy luxury goods that are non-productive, spent on women, spent in Dubai, spent in the United Kingdom, spent in America, to buy frivolous things and liabilities. For the economy to pick up, taxes on things are going to increase. We're going to pay more for services. Airlines have recently increased their fares in Nigeria. We're going to pay heavily. And you will find out that whatever peanuts you get as gifts from these politicians, from these corrupt citizens, will not be able to offset the increase in prices of goods and services. Mark what I'm saying. Government is going to tax people more. They are going to place a demand on us to pay for their theft, for their inefficiencies, for their docility and their wickedness. It's going to be very terrible. This brings me to the recent increase in school fees in the Delta State universities. Number one, those of us who are increasing these school fees, who are governors, who are commissioners. One of the commissioners I listened to him, that parents should stop their consumption of beer and alcohol so that they can pay school fees. How much do they spend on alcohol monthly compared to what they as politicians consume from the commonwealth of our states? Our parents were drinking alcohol when the government that trained us gave us bursaries, gave us scholarships. A lot of us went to school relatively cheap. I was given a bursary of 850 naira. I'm not sure I was paying up to 150 naira for school fees and accommodation. And meals were very cheap. Meals were 50 kobo per meal, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, 150 naira. So the 850 naira that was given to me was enough to take care of me. At the same time, I had money to send to my parents. So, we who enjoy the privileges of good education, we've sent our children overseas, we've destroyed the educational system. Now we want to make the poor to pay for our wickedness. I had the opportunity of schooling with the children of the elite, justices, magistrates, top businessmen, the secretary to the federal government, and head of services at that time. His son was my classmate. I sat on the same seat with him. But today, we are creating a wide gap between the children of the rich and the children of the poor. The children of the rich will go to private schools like mine, and the children of the poor will go to public schools. The truth of the matter is that with time, these children, if we deprive them the privileges of having qualitative education, good health care, and social justice, they will become a nuisance to us and a nuisance to our children. Now, School fees, they will say that running a university is very expensive. I agree. Number one, why did they upgrade several polytechnics to universities at the same time? Did they think of how they would fund them? Did they plan? Did they think about how they will generate revenue to fund these universities? Number two, universities around the world are not funded by school fees alone. The vice chancellors, the governing councils of these universities must become creative. They must look for avenues to get grants from the wealthy, from organizations who will fund research and fund several activities in the universities. The federal government and the state government must find a way, apart from TED fund, to generate revenue from multinationals, from the very wealthy, to fund our universities. The vice chancellors must be creative enough to put businesses in the universities. You have a large population of students. And this large population will need services, food, whatever, water. A university can have a water factory. A university can have a bakery. A university can have a farm, can have a poultry, can have a piggery. A university can have a ranch and produce materials that will produce wealth. A university can have consultancy services. The Department of Architecture, the Department of Engineering, Civil Engineering, Electrical Engineering can bid for jobs within the state civil service, the state government and the federal government, and compete favorably and gain jobs and gain money. There are several ways that universities can generate money apart from grants from the state. So, some of the wage bills that are quoted for these universities are inflated. They might not be a true reflection of what is supposed to be. Be that as it may, if you take the Delta State government, for example, the state governor gets 2 billion naira as security vote every month. 2 billion naira is not accounted for, is not audited. It's security vote. You don't need to know what he spent it on. So the state governor will get 24 billion in 1 year. While the budget for all the universities and secondary schools and primary schools for 2022 was 34.6 billion naira. The state governor is going to get 24 billion security vote, minus his allowances, minus whatever. And the total budget for education was 34.6 billion. So, who is fooling who? I have not calculated the expenses for members of the House of Assembly, their constituency allowances, their travel allowances, and several other things. Our legislators in Nigeria earn higher than, apart from which country, I can't remember the country now, our legislators are the highest paid legislators in the world, even more than those of the United States. So you find out that the cost of taking care of a few elites in politics is more important than the cost of taking care of the educational needs of the general populace. Costa Rica in 1895, if I'm correct, granted free and compulsory education. The economy of Costa Rica is better than a lot of those countries in South and Central America. You will hardly see somebody from Costa Rica joining standing on top of trains to cross to America. The greatest export of Costa Rica is brains. and it's a very developed and cultured society. They disbanded their army. So the money for the military was used to provide free education. They have one of the highest literacy rate in the world. And because the education is qualitative, the people are well behaved. As I said earlier on, if we don't spend money on education to educate and train our people, we are putting gunpowder in a keg and smoking a cigarette very close to it. It's going to be terrible. Even now that children are saying that education is a scam, is this the right time to discourage them from going to school by increasing school fees? My father wouldn't have been able to pay that. A lot of children who might be brilliant will drop off, and that would be very catastrophic. I remember somebody telling me in Springs in South Africa, I've said this often, that Nigeria, when they introduced me as a Nigerian, they said Nigeria criminals. I said criminality is intelligence looking for an avenue for manifestation in the midst of oppression and deprivation. I always wonder, if I didn't have good schools to attend as a young man, I would have been a terrible person in society. So, at the same time, things are going to get tougher. The cost of food is going to go up astronomically. Number one, I run a poultry. The cost of poultry feed, very high. And we are scaling down on our poultry production. And several poultries have closed down. So the price of chicken will go up. Why the increase in price of food? Number one, the violence in the northern part of Nigeria. The increase in cost of poultry feed. The violence in the northern part of Nigeria. And the consequences of herdsmen destroying crops planted by farmers like beans, soya beans, and several other commodities that are used to produce animal feed. The Fulani herdsmen crisis and farmers conflict is as a result of negligence. It's as a result of inaction. It's as a result of tolerance of a group of people because of ethnic affiliation. The resultant effect is that the price of eggs are going to go up, price of foodstuff will go up, and those of you supporting these politicians, those of you who would listen to what I'm saying now because you are media rats for these politicians, you will attack me, you will criticize me. Your salary, if you are not a thief, as a special assistant, is not more than 250,000. And maybe you are 30, 40 years old. By the time you get to my age bracket, if you have not had any solid thing to do, your children will be going to university then, school fees will be about 500,000. You will discover that you have shot yourself on your foot. Today, the kind of people wanting to rule us as governors, as presidents, are people of questionable character, questionable health status, tribalists, people who have hardly managed anything effectively. The past 8 years has been quite traumatic for Nigerians. And if we repeat the same mistake of this person is from the north, this person is from the south, this person is from the east, we will eventually find out that fuel scarcity and increase in price of fuel does not affect party members selectively. All of us are affected, north, south, east, and west. The challenges that are coming are going to affect all of us. You will see a time will soon come, even your own borehole for providing water for yourself that government failed to provide, they will soon charge you for it. For your generator that produces electricity for you because government has failed. Somebody funny somewhere might put pollution fee on your generator that you should pay for using a generator. The same person that failed to provide electricity for you. The prices, I went to buy tea I used to drink, ginger and honey tea. I was buying it for 1,000 naira. I went yesterday, it's now 1,200 naira. I've not been able to print my books because the price of paper has gone up. So that's why my books are online at petrapublications.com. And several things, the prices are going to go up. And the poor, the masses, will pay the price. How long will we continue like this? How long? How long will we continue like this? The time has come when the citizenry must hold themselves responsible to defend this nation, the integrity of this nation, and the future of their children. When I see Ukrainian citizens confronting tanks, traveling from other nations to come back to their country to fight, when I see a former president carrying a machine gun, I see the wife of the president dressed in military fatigue, ready to fight. I see people forming lines to go and carry guns to shoot Russians. I see women producing Molotov cocktails and their husbands ferrying them to the war front. A young man blew himself up in a bridge to prevent the Russians from crossing over to his country. You don't get patriotism like that. Patriotism comes when you have value for the lives of your citizens. When you create value in their lives and they value their nation because their nation values them. I hear people pray for Ukraine. Pray for Ukraine. How many of you have prayed for those in Zamfara state that are killed? How many of you have prayed for people in Katsina state that are killed? How many of you have prayed for those in Niger state that are killed? It's as if the average Nigerian does not even have value for himself. We don't have value for each other. And because of that, it percolates from the government. When the government does not have value for her citizens, other nations treat them anyhow. And because the citizens don't have a relationship with government and they don't have value for themselves, they don't have value for each other. Nigerians have not been doing ritual killings. I don't support ritual killings in any form. But the rate at which it has increased is a reflection of the level of desperation and poverty in the land. The hotel where I'm staying now, a whole generation is going to wipe away. I saw them smoking, girls smoking, boys smoking loud, selling, doing all kinds of things. This generation that is in pursuit of happiness, in pursuit of excitement, is because of a failed system. A system that does not give hope. And so the delusion of quick money out of a non-functional system leads to yahoo, leads to ritual killing, leads to prostitution. And then a whole generation of our youths are going to be relatively very useless because we have a failed system. The irony is that you will always see somebody who is ready to defend the rot. Our nation is going to face great challenges. Healthcare systems are going to collapse if care is not taken. People will steal our money that are meant to build hospitals, buy supplies, and the resultant effect is that the citizenry might be fetching water to hospital. They will be told to buy diesel for generating plant so that they can have electricity to do surgeries. it is becoming terrible. If you go to our hospitals, patients buy nearly everything. And who do they buy from? From the same elite. We are spiraling out of control. And it seems as if we have gotten used to the rubbish. It must not continue. 2023, the political class, if they don't take time, they might collapse this nation. The zoning formula, the conflict that might come, those who might not win will want to topple the carts. The resultant effect is that the apples will throw away. 2023 is very critical. The players on the political scene look so desperate, extremely desperate. I look at the zoning system that they are clamoring for. Some have decided that they should zone the presidency to the southeast. I strongly support that. But when they zone it to the southeast, they should bring credible candidates, not some of those who messed up their states, who left debts behind, who turned their states to family caliphates. We don't want such people. We want men of substance upstairs. We want men that have produced results. If the presidency is zoned to the east by the two parties, I think it will heal Nigeria. It will, to a large extent, negate the agitation in the southeast based on years of deprivation, negligence, and maltreatment. But we must have good candidates from that part of the country. Some of them that are parading themselves around, they are clowns. A lot of them have court cases of corruption hanging over their heads. When will we take ourselves seriously for the first time? When will Nigerians take governance seriously? When will we take politics seriously? When will we take our economy seriously? When will we take the education of our children seriously? When will we take the military seriously? Security. Robbers came to Uromi and robbed for 2 hours, robbed 5 banks and left. It took youths to go and block the road to prevent the armed robbers from running away. Where were the security forces? Will you blame them? Do they have bulletproof vests? Do they have modern guns? Do they have good shoes? Have you seen the shoes some of our policemen wear? These boys were wearing good canvas shoes, sneakers, with jeans, healthy. Have you seen some of us policemen? They look hungry. Have you seen the guns they carry with sellotape around them? They could not have confronted them. They don't want to die because there's no future. So youths had to pay the price to go and block the road. Governance is failing in Nigeria, and the citizenry will pay a greater price. But the truth of the matter is that we can stand up and say, no, never again. The last 8 years was painful enough. We can have a better future. But brace up, young men. You think you are youths. You are excited. You are running after one of these persons or the other person. You will pay a higher price. Some of us have fought our own fights. Some of us, the pain will not be so much on us compared to you that is coming. It is your future that is being stolen. It is your future that is being compromised. Let's learn from Ukraine. The citizens can stand and cause a change in their nation. Remember, it was the Ukrainians that stood and changed their governance. And today, they have a president and a nation that the people are proud of. Is it possible with Nigeria? Yes, it's possible. How come some Nigerians in Ukraine prefer to die there than to come back home? How come 100 and something Nigerian youths have gone to line up to go and fight in Ukraine instead of lining up to go and fight in Zamfara State and fight Boko Haram? There's no future. Nigeria is not worth dying for in their minds. And you don't blame them. You don't blame them. They will prefer to go to Ukraine. If they survive in Ukraine, they might become citizens, be integrated into the army, and they might be rewarded. Even if they die there, the compensation they will pay to their families might remove poverty from their families. Something is wrong, brethren. Let's take this country more seriously. Let's do what is supposed to be done. I had to make this video to make my mind clear on some subject matters, and let me not be held accountable by the generation coming before me, behind me, that what did you do and what did you say? God bless you. I remain your friend, Dr. Charles Apoki.